Hey friends, Sam Stone here, and this is the tale of two keyboards. I have in my hands here the basic standard QWERTY keyboard. This is right off my own computer. This is the one that I had been using for a while. It's called the QWERTY keyboard because it says QWERTY right here. QWERTYUIOP ASDFGHJKL semicolon and then the bottom lines. This is the way that the keyboard was designed. So why is it not alphabetical? Well, when I was in school, I was told that it was optimized, and it's true, it was optimized, but only partially for efficiency. You see, the initial typewriters were mechanical devices, and they were prone to binding. You see, whenever you type on a typewriter, you're pushing down a mechanical lever. It's like a weighted key, and the arm will come out and strike a ribbon, which strikes the paper. Thump, thump, thump. That's so they're all weighted kind of like a piano, and that's why people that have heard me type, I learned to type on a mechanical typewriter. It sounds like I'm angry at the typewriter, but I'm not. I just learned to type on heavier keys. So why is it not alphabetical? Well, it's because the keys would bind. So if you've ever messed with a mechanical typewriter and hit all the keys at once, the arms will fling out and they'll get caught up and they'll bind like this, and you have to physically put them back in their place. They're in this like little U-shaped thing. So the typewriter was designed so that the keys wouldn't bind. Another thing that's kind of novel about the typewriter, you can type the word typewriter using only the top keys. But what if there was a better way to do this? And it turns out there is. In 1936, the Dvorak keyboard was launched. This is the Dvorak keyboard. I have one here. I don't type very fast on it. You can see it's still very pretty. I haven't used it as much because I'm having to relearn it. Now, what's the difference in the Dvorak and the QWERTY keyboard? Well, number one, it doesn't say Dvorak anywhere on here. First thing I did whenever I got this was okay, it says QWERTY, where's it say Dvorak? I figured, well, maybe that's written out somewhere. Nope, turns out Dvorak is the name of the inventor. August Dvorak, 1936, came up with this thing. And he had a couple of principles that he abided by. He didn't have to worry about the mechanical issue of it so much, the binding. He wasn't looking at that. He was looking at how far are my fingers having to move. Look here at the home keys. A, O, E, U, I, D, H, T, N, S. Okay? So you got all your vowels in the left hand. And the idea here that he was going for was more of a mix. Whenever you look at the QWERTY keyboard, you're typing a lot with your left hand, and you're also reaching a lot. Just think about the word the, T-H-E. So your two of your most commonly used letters there, you're having to strike the top row. So T, A, or T and E. All right, so this Dvorak keyboard comes out, and then in the 1950s, there was this big push towards making everything efficient. There was this thing called motion study that came out. If you've ever seen the play Cheaper by the Dozen, I was in it in high school. There's this guy that studies motion study, and he learned to button his shirt from bottom to top to save 7 seconds. And the idea is if you're moving less, you ought to be more efficient, right? And that's the whole idea behind the Dvorak keyboard. So what's the story? Why doesn't everybody have, why are we still using QWERTY? That's a good question. Well, history plays a lot into it. We think in terms of today when we look at products, but when typewriters came out, it was just QWERTY. That was all you had. So even though something better came out 60 years later, it took technology a long time before you would have detachable keyboards just with a little USB hookup, right? So you got a detachable keyboard. Now technology is such that I can easily switch from one to the other. There's still some limitations. I can't do my control functions. I can't do Control V, Control C, all that sort of stuff, and that's kind of a problem, right? So why learn this at all? Well, for me, I plan on typing for at least another 30 years, and it's more efficient, and it's also kind of novel, and I like learning new things, so that's kind of why. For me, it was worth it, but why didn't it catch on? Well, because people already knew how to type, and it didn't really, maybe the benefit wasn't big enough, or it wasn't well known about enough to make the difference. Okay, Good. So what do I do now? Today I work for a company called Easy Routing. We use calendar-based software. And what that is, so if you've ever booked a hotel room, you go in and you've got Monday, Tuesday, you're booking your days, all right? You can just easily select the days that you want. Same kind of thing. When we're setting up our routes, we're able to go in and say, Jimmy's going to soccer, Jimmy's going to grandma's only on Tuesdays, and he goes to daycare on Wednesdays, okay? Easy enough, and I can go in there in the system and make that repeat every single week. It's a different way to do things. We've got a lot of different ways to do things, more efficient ways to do things, and unlike the Dvorak, which was, unfortunately, time wasn't ready, it's a lot easier to switch now. It's not like you have to go and create a whole brand new typewriter. It's just a matter of downloading some software, uploading your students, and we even help with that. Help get you up and going, get your database started, get you ready to go, and then it's just a matter of operating an easier to use system. Thanks.